Welcome to my Substack live that I call Getting a Grip. Hello, you made it on. Yay, Kathy D, you're the first one here. I just jumped on just now. Hi, Brenda, and all the rest that are showing up. Thank you for joining me on this Friday night. You know, in a little bit more than a week, we go into, I guess it's going to be, we go into daylight savings time. So when I do my Substack lives, it's likely that it'll be late out. It'll still be daylight. Yes, the comments are working. I'm glad they're working. I don't know what happened before that they weren't. So glad you're here. I'm pouring myself a fake beer. TGIF, right? So I've been thinking about, is having Trump in our lives making us stronger? Pacific time throws you. The Substack has it set to Central time, and that always throws me off. Has Trump made us stronger? I know we have resistance to that idea, but hear me out. When we have something that we really vehemently oppose, when the emotional charge around it is strong enough, we have no choice but to stand up and to fight. And this is like lifting weights at the gym. Though we all probably should be doing that. It sounds boring to me, but it's like lifting weights at the gym, nonetheless. When you have to push back against a weight, the heavier the weight, the stronger the muscle. Right? And that's something that we pretty much don't ever think about. Really, I don't think we think about that. The harder it is, the stronger we become. And I reflect all the time on why is it this bad, right? Why ask why? Speaking of beer, that was I think that was a Bud Light commercial or Bud Dry or something. It's this bad, I think. I mean, if there's some kind of rhyme and reason to what's happening, which I know it's a stretch to even think that. But in the face of so many people not paying attention for so long, this extreme is guaranteed to wake up the entirety of the United States of America. This extreme will make it necessary for the entirety of the United States of America to wake up. And unfortunately, nothing else has really worked. And unfortunately, we have a segment of the population, like we saw at the so-called State of the Union on Tuesday night. We saw a segment of the population in that room that are in cult mind. We are hopeful for sure, and we're getting stronger. Brenda's saying we are hopeful. But we have to remind ourselves frequently that their brains are in a bubble. Those MAGA Republicans' brains are in a bubble, and it's a very unpleasant place for a person to live in the bubble, no matter how much you think that they might have it better than you do, monetarily or in any other way. That bubble is very limited, and that bubble doesn't have any room in it for love. I know that Trump has never known genuinely what genuine love is for whatever reason. I know that for a fact because he shows no signs whatsoever of having that as part of his human makeup. And the people in the room, wherever you might be, but in that room on Tuesday night when he was addressing the Congress at the most, I guess it would go down as the most untruthful State of the Union in American history. Not like, oh my God, it was so amazing. Like Jim Jordan couldn't get enough, right? And the rest of them. The more they lie, the more they remain in their bubbles, the more they make people suffer and suffer and suffer for their coffers to be filled with more money, more gold, and not the people that they're inflicting suffering on. The more that goes on, the more our blood pressure rises, but we don't want to be like unhealthy. We don't want this to make us so filled with toxic rage, which is a physiological effect. And studies have shown that stress, cortisol, leads to health problems. Let me move my sign over that says, I love the Constitution. I don't think Alexia will mind. So we have to think about love. What do we love? There's a little fake rose here too. We love the Constitution. So yeah, I know that he's never had love in his life. No, he's never had love in his life. Trump hasn't. And the MAGA Republicans that think they're holier than thou because they have all this money and all this favor and all this entirety of their souls being sold to the devil, they can't win. They're not going to win. Because we have become stronger due to the conflict that we're in. He has so much hate and sick mentality without morals, yeah. Love will win because the more cruelty and harm that we see inflicted on ourselves and on our most vulnerable in our population, the more our love, along with the rage, rises. The rage, the anger gives us energy to fight, not physically, peacefully fight. What we have over those close-minded people and their like Christian nationalist bubbles, what we have over them is we're intelligent and they're not. I mean, I don't say that as an insult. They have no emotional IQ. And that's a very sad and tragic kind of a life, if you ask me. There's nothing wrong with money. There's a lot wrong with people that have so much money and it's never enough. And that translates into taking money from those who are most vulnerable and in need. Y'all may have heard Ben Mysalis on Midas Touch played a clip in which a woman called into C-SPAN. And she was a woman in her 60s, and she was partially blind. So she was disabled, didn't live right in the center of town. Let me know if you heard this. Called into C-SPAN and said she used to receive like, I don't know, $82 a month for SNAP. And now it's down to about $21 a month. And she basically read off the list of the items of food that she has in her cupboard. Apparently she doesn't have any help at all. And that she said she had been to the doctor. Maybe she's on Medicaid, but she had been to the doctor and discovered that she knew she had lost weight, but she had lost like 28 pounds. And she's hungry and used to work at the food shelf, the food pantry or the soup kitchen, whatever it was where she lives. And this is what I'm talking about. If you're ever watching TV, I don't watch a lot of TV, but when I'm visiting my mom, we have the TV on, and I see commercials of children that, and you've seen these too, St. Jude's Hospital, children that have cancer, and they have commercials. They always have commercials on for like the Make-A-Wish Foundation and different, or the Shriners, that have, stories of real life children that develop really chronic or terminal diseases, potentially terminal. And it reminds you, and people that are born with disabilities, it reminds you of the compassion and the caring of genuine human beings. And so, speaking of handicaps, you're welcome for my writings on Substack. Speaking of handicaps, what's one of the first things that we saw Drumpf do was mock a reporter who asked him a question, who had a handicap where his hands were not developed or something. You know what I'm talking about. The kinds of things that we feel compassion about, like we look at that and go, oh, that must be hard. That must be difficult. And you feel for that person. And he makes a mockery of them. And we've heard the stories of Drumpf's brother's son. I forget the name of the brother, you might know, who has a severely handicapped son. The brother has a severely handicapped son. So it's Drumpf's nephew. Yeah, it was hard to watch him make fun of that handicapped reporter. That was really devastating. And a lot of people say that that's what turned them off, and they've been furious ever since. Totally, I get it. I understand that. It's true. So have I been furious ever since. But I'm just going to give you in a nutshell version of Drumpf's nephew, Donald's nephew, who was severely handicapped. He basically told his brother, his nephew's father, that he should just let him. I don't know how to say it. Just stop taking care of him, I'll say. If you haven't heard that story, I do believe that I heard it from Mary Trump, I'm sure. I think it's in one of her books. What a horrible family that, not all of them, but like some of them got infected with the evil gene or something. But I guess it just happens. So those MAGA Republicans cheering on that side of the room, reportedly, when Trump said something about immigration, they were hooting and hollering on the Republican side of the room. They were cheering, like I said before, like they were at a rock concert. Oh, you heard that too about Trump's nephew who was handicapped? And they're cheering like they're at a rock concert. And that's when Trump turns to the Democrats and goes, "You're crazy." He was like all like, ooh, so angry. "You're crazy," because they weren't standing up when he talked about immigration. We all know how ICE and DHS is acting like the Gestapo and assaulting people and torturing people and having them in these concentration camps. And we don't know what's happening to them in the concentration camps because they're not letting anybody in, the press or even representatives who have a right and even a duty to check in and to see the conditions. They're not being let in. And he was calling the Democrats on the side of the room that wouldn't give him a standing ovation when he was talking about immigration. He called them crazy. He tried to shame them for not taking what he was saying as something they agreed with. There really are barely any words to express how horrific this is. And so I started with saying I think that he's making us stronger because the level of intensity that we have of being opposed to this means, I don't know, for me, March 28th for the next No Kings rally is way too far away. They were proud to not stand up for him, as you and I would have been too. And a lot of them were proud to not even show up at all. Yeah, I couldn't have stomached watching that. Out of an act of self-care, and just plus it's so revolting to see that kind of behavior and to feel that kind of vitriolic fascist rage that he has. We can't even believe this is happening in this country. We can't. And so yesterday I talked about what they did with bringing Hillary Clinton in for a private hearing, how the gist of that, the reason for that, why they want it to be in private is so that they can take pictures, even though it wasn't allowed. Lauren Boebert whips out her camera and takes a picture of Hillary. Hillary gets upset. And then what's her name? Nancy Mace. These women, there's something wrong with them. Says afterwards that oh, Hillary was off the rails. I would have freaking been off the rails. I'm sure Hillary wasn't off the rails. But she was angry that Boebert had violated the rules that were set down at the beginning. Apparently, we're supposed to be able to hear the transcripts of that closed door hearing. Hillary had a right. If she went in there in an absolute rage, she had a right. And I know that she is too composed and emotionally intelligent to do that, and has decorum and treats the United States with respect. So she answered the call to show up and tell what she knew. Now, how it got to the point where they were asking her questions about Pizzagate and aliens, they're making a complete and utter total mockery of the United States of America. And it's why Hillary and Bill wanted to open to the public. And I'm thinking that I may have heard they're going to do that too. Hey, Thomas and Sage and everyone. Yeah, she calmly walked out and spoke to the public because that's who she really is. But I've talked about this here before. I think I have. If a woman shows emotions, it's much more likely that woman's going to be hearing this. Oh, you shouldn't be so mad. Oh, you smile more, right? What the effing F? Don't be a human being. Be a nice little girl. So in the face of all this insanity, in the face of all these out and out lying criminals that just keep lying and being criminal, in the face of this, whatever you want to call it, evil clown show, in the face of this being what Americans are answering to, I honestly. So now he's so upset about us still talking about the Epstein files that he's in more than anybody else. I know he's in there more than anybody else. It doesn't take a psychic to figure that out. It's crazy they asked her about QAnon crap, knowing that Epstein and Bannon were behind it all. It's crazy that they didn't. It's crazy that they even got her in there for questioning. For what? So now, because he doesn't want us to keep talking about the Epstein files, we heard him. Are you still talking about the Epstein files? That, what do you call them? That scum? Or like, yeah, we're still talking about it because there's so much in there that has his name on it. That's not a secret. And let me tell you something, it's worse than you can imagine. I have my ways of knowing that. Because he doesn't want us to still talk about the Epstein files. There were innocent people who lost their lives. Venezuelan fishermen. You see the fishing boat, just as a segue, and it's a fishing boat behind me. It was a fishing boat we lost on January 30th. All hands on deck. So sad. And that's a painting that my cousin painted. He's a painter. And I just got that today. But anyway, so they bomb Venezuelan fishing boats. Don't talk about Epstein. Bombed Iran. I mean, before, when they said they got all the nuclear factories there, the nuclear weapons facilities, they didn't. Yeah, I can tell you where to get a print of that painting. And now and then because he doesn't want us to talk about Epstein and his connection to Epstein and all those heinous, unspeakable crimes, unforgivable crimes that were committed there. He decides he needs to invade Greenland, invade one of our allies, one of our NATO allies. Invade Greenland, invade Greenland, invade Greenland. And then, so then now it's like, okay, we're going to go to war with Iran because he doesn't want us to see the Epstein files. He doesn't want us to talk about that. Everyone else is being brought in for questioning when they barely have anything to do with it. Hillary didn't even know Jeffrey Epstein. I believe her. Bill didn't know what was all going on until afterwards. I believe him. He doesn't want us to talk about it. So now we're on the brink of having a war with Iran. For effing what? Which could lead to World War III. But all the MAGA Republicans are like, oh, yay! Yes! We need, what do they say? What do we hear them say? We need Greenland. We need Greenland for national security. We need Greenland because they have resources, like they have a right to have it. We need Iran. We need to go to a war with Iran. For what reason? Every single one of us on Monday, or you can probably leave voicemail messages over the weekend, has to call every representative you can to say, declaring war on another country requires congressional approval. And that nobody seems to be taking the reins is not okay. It's not okay. So I'm going to commiserate with all of us here tonight and whoever watches later. Is it really true that nobody's going to stop the madness? Stay tuned for a future episode tonight on my YouTube channel. Because we've had 10 years of nobody stopping the madness. And this is madness. Make no mistake. This is beyond the pale. Insanity and madness. And to the rest of the world, especially to our allies, they don't know what to do. And not only is he saying we're going to attack Iran, and he doesn't even give any reasons. I mean, I really just feel like in his head, I can see it. I feel like I can see it. He's just trying to think about what Putin told him to say. Or Netanyahu told him to say. So, like, saying we're going to go to war with Iran, we don't know why. He's not telling us. He's following orders from the enemies. So guess what happens next? We need to take over Cuba. Yeah, we need to take over Cuba. We need to go in and take it over. So somehow he's getting this false bravado. I heard the military is very upset the military that's stationed in the Middle East, the Navy. I hear that they're really upset, and some of them, I think, are defecting. I think that's my sense. I could see why they would. I mean, to be in our military, you have to have some semblance of being proud to be in the military, being proud of your country. All our men are in harm's way. It's true. So what they're doing at the direction of we know who. I don't think, I mean, I know my YouTube channel is shadow banned and all, yeah, I know all that, right? Because I keep saying it. I really do feel like it's because I keep saying it. The instructions are, dear Trump, destroy America. So what Trump has done is, I have this image of an insect with a lot of legs. Just, destroy it. Limb by limb, just destroy. I don't think you call them limbs if they're insects. Sorry, I don't mean to gross you out. Dear Trump, destroy America. Love Putin. That's my protest sign. And it's also the title of one of my Substack articles, and I should restack that one. It was a while ago. Let's know that we're being called to be extremely strong. Let's know that it's up to us. And let's know that if the Congress isn't going to do its job, right now the Democrats are really, and it's for good reason, I don't disagree, they're very, very absorbed in what's going on with these Epstein files and holding people accountable, and all that's going on, and he's getting ready to start a war with Iran. So we're reaching a point where we have to set our priorities. We have to get our priorities straight. Do a song soon. I've got a lot of songs. I have a lot of songs about what's going on, and I'm getting them together. They're getting recorded bit by bit. It's up to us. We've been in resistance training. We are the resistance. Thank you, Brenda. Brenda's saying she loves my music. Thank you. I appreciate that. We have to understand that it's up to all of us. And I know I say that and I probably sound like I keep repeating myself, but the fascists always repeat themselves, and it seems to work for them because they got people in cult mind control, right? It's up to us. Thank you for my compliment. The compliments on my music. I did just re-up my GoDaddy. So AnnetteDionMusic.com should be live. So if you want to hear more of my music, go there. And I'll be getting more songs up there too. Annette Dion Music. It's just for free. Once we understand, I just want to say that I was talking to a couple people. The topic came up recently of imposter syndrome. Thanks for asking. And I think, I'm going to just end with this. A lot of we who don't have these giant, huge egos where we have to steal from other people in order to steal people's valor and, like we who are good people that think about others, put it that way. You love the song you sang during one of the members' show. Oh, I'll figure out what that was. Good people like you and I who don't have these huge egos. Sometimes we feel like, oh, we can't do all that because, no, this is really true. Compassionate, kind people. Sometimes we feel like if we get out there and we speak what we say what needs to be spoken. Sometimes we feel like, oh, I couldn't do that because that would be, I wouldn't be in my lane, or I'm not qualified, right? And this is what I want to tell you about that. Partly because of that, partly because people thought for a long, long time, oh, in order to be president, you have to have degrees and you have to know all the intricacies of world history and world politics and world economies and how America works and the history of America. You have to know so much. You have to be good with numbers. You have to be really skilled at negotiating. You have to know about different cultures and how they communicate with their language. We thought it was like you had to be super duper qualified. You have to have 3 degrees from prestigious colleges. We thought all that. So we would have had imposter syndrome if we ran for president. You know what I mean? We would have felt like, oh no, we can't. We're not qualified, right? I remember feeling that way about running for city council, and I am going to run for city council. I'm going to get the the right number of signatures, and I'm going to start way earlier this time around. Make sure I do everything right. But there was a time that I thought I didn't know enough to run for city council. And then we got Drumpf. I can be a freaking horror show. I would be reading people the riot act, that's for sure. And the thing that happens, and you might remember this from school, if you were a good student and you were reasonable and you were kind of normal, right? If you were in school and there was a really dumb, ignorant, rude bully, but the dumb, ignorant, rude bully got all the attention from the teacher and it made you crazy. It drove you crazy. I'm glad you'd vote for me. And it drove you crazy. But you know what? That bully in the classroom who's rude and obnoxious and just completely makes your skin crawl and makes you really angry. Guess what? Because you weren't speaking up in the classroom, that bully got all the attention. So maybe you were sitting in the classroom thinking, oh, I'd like to say something. I'd like to get the teacher's attention, but I don't want all that attention on me or whatever. We need to think more highly of ourselves. We truly do. We need to have more self-esteem. And I think it's a really important message that we're getting now. That those who are qualified need to be running for those positions, or these people are going to be running the country into the freaking ground. I think we got the message. I think we got the message. And it is up to us. And I really and truly think that it's not going to work if we wait for only one group of people to do it. We are the people. We're it. We're it. Tag, you're it. The good news is that we are stronger. Personally, y'all have heard me say this before because you know me from YouTube. I didn't know that I could speak, that I could orate without notes, and I do it frequently. I didn't know I could write so frequently and so prolifically. I didn't know I could get this passionate about our country. I didn't know that I could be effective and inspire and motivate people. I didn't know that. I had no idea. But I can see stepping points in my life now, looking back and reflecting, that in so many ways, and I hope you feel this way too. Don't make me storm the castle alone now, right? You probably can see this in your own life too, that step by step through the years, You actually were getting ready for these times. I didn't know that I was, but here we are. So answer the call. You're answering the call by showing up, by keeping in touch with what's going on. Midas Touch is answering the call. Brian Tyler Cohen's answering the call. Mary Trump is answering the call. I'm going to leave so many people out. If Simon Rosenberg is answering. There's so many people. Heather Cox Richardson is answering the call. There are so many people that I'm sure feel the same way that I do. I didn't know I had it in me. I didn't. I'm tireless when it comes to this. I did not know I had it in me. But I can make a protest sign to knock your socks off in about 5 minutes flat with Sharpies. And I've made a lot of them. So tag, you're it. We're it. We're in this together. Together, there's nothing that we cannot do. Keep your eye on the prize. A bigger, building back better Joe Bidenism. Together. And together we can. So if you are a watcher of my YouTube channel, I'll be doing a video and uploading it in a little while. So look for that. Please hit the thumbs up and hype if there's a hype button. Thank you so much for showing up, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Yes, this is where we are. Yep. I like to say namaste. All right. Be good. Relax tonight.